Hey
Hey y'all,
welcome to Chief Complaint
Tacky,
and Caffeinated. I'm Jess.
and I'm Britt.
We're two nurse practitioners, moms, wives, and longtime friends who met in nursing school, and somehow we've managed to juggle evolving healthcare, careers, and our home lives.
This is where we talk about the things that don't fit into a 15-minute visit: healthcare, beauty, motherhood, marriage, business, burnout, and whatever else life throws at us.
Two in peace
Real life.
and fully caffeinated.
Hey y'all.
Hey y'all. Welcome to episode 4.
Episode 4.
So we feel like we've touched on talking about ourselves and who we are. We've spoke to the patient. And so we thought today we would want to speak to colleagues or nurses, moms, wives, anybody that's contemplating going to nursing school or advancing their career. You know, you're an RN and you've been contemplating like, oh, is it worth the time and money and effort to go back to NP school? And so we just want to share some of our experiences and our thoughts, things we wish we'd have done differently, things we wish we'd have done to prepare for the program, etc., to help maybe sway you one way or the other.
Yeah. We just want to tell everyone that however you start or where you start doesn't have to be where you finish. And so there's hope. There is hope. So if you're considering going to nursing school or just going back to school, it doesn't even have to be a nurse, just going, being a mom who's already got her life, her family, and you're just not quite sure if there's enough money, there's enough babysitters, enough time, you know, how are you going to do it working a full-time job, whether you're a single mom or a married couple. There are ways that you can do it. I think overthinking and contemplating how you're going to do it complicates it even more. I feel like
Right.
if you just do it,
Just do it.
and you have faith. I've relied on faith. I know there's not a lot of
100%.
religious people out there, but that's just what I did, is just do it, and then God opens doors and made ways to get me where I am now. I did not see how I was going to get here and what it took and how many obstacles
Yes.
could have stopped several times.
And I feel like I've said that a lot in this past week, is that God doesn't close doors in which he doesn't open new or better doors. In my experience, you know, there's been a lot of doors closed unexpectedly, but I mean, it's always paid off for me in the end. So just trusting that,
Yeah.
trusting in God and his plan and his will for your life, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk from the nursing standpoint. Like, nursing school is difficult. It's hard. It's demanding. There's a lot of your time that is being taken up by studying and being in clinical and having the stress of making a certain grade to move to the next part of the program. Like, there's so much going on in the program. You don't have to have it all together to go into the program or to even start school. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have tons of money. There's government funding, there's scholarships, there's grants to the school. Like, there's ways to make it happen. You just have to decide if the fear of starting or the fear of not doing it, which one is greater to propel you forward. Fear of not doing anything is greater than the fear of achieving. Is that what makes you go? That's what's fueled me.
Yeah.
The fear of what if.
Yeah. And it goes both ways. Like, oh, what if I get in and I'm not successful? What if you get in and you are successful?
I know.
You know, so I mean, you could play both sides of the fence on that scenario, but just doing it, right? Like, what's the worst that could happen? Like, you don't get in the first time you apply, or the second, or the third, or the fifth, you know, but you just stay consistent. Like, what's the worst that can happen? You stay where you are.
Yeah.
At least you can say you tried.
Right.
You know, like, but also on that same note, like, stay persistent. You know, like, me, myself, I'm not a great student. You know, I'm an excellent worker. You know, I have great work ethic. I'm more of a kinetic learner. So for me to sit down and read a book, it's hard.
Listen to someone.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yes. And then just stay consistent. You know, like, I feel like there's going to be obstacles thrown in your path, and maybe that's part of like seeing how bad you want it. You know, like, keep going.
Yeah.
Don't give up.
Knowing your why. I think I always needed to figure out why. Like, why would I go to nursing school? Why would I pursue college? I was 19 or 20 when I applied. I applied for the RN and I applied for the LVN, and I had taken all the prereqs for my associates, and my mom was just like, apply for them both and just see what happens. I'm like, no, but I really just want the RN. Like, I just want to get it done first time. She's like, you don't know what God has planned for you. If you get in either one of them, it's a blessing. And so I got in. I remember getting a letter of acceptance for the LVN program, and then I got a letter to be an alternate in the RN program if someone didn't accept their letter. And I felt defeated. I felt like, this is not why I went to school. Like, what did I not do right? What have I done better? Like, why does she get to go and not me? I'd been a CNA, and that didn't help. But getting into the LVN program was the beginning of the fire I needed to continue to be a nurse. Like, my why. Why do I want to be a nurse? Because I wanted to be something bigger than myself. I wanted to be able to give back to people at their lowest times, at their hardest times. Like, I'm a doer, and I was always a waitress too.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like waitressing and nursing kind of
go hand in hand.
Yeah, you're catering to someone, you're providing something for them, and you're making sure they're having a good experience. And waitressing, you get tips, but in nursing, it's the rewarding moments are when that family member hugs you and says, thank you for being with me in the last moments of my mom's life, or thank you, the patients that's being discharged that couldn't walk when they came in. It's like, thank you for being there and encouraging me and taking care of me. Like, those moments make it worth it. That makes it so worth it. Or just your kids watching you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I seen how hard mom worked. She took care of us. She kept her job, and she went to nursing school. Like, by golly, I can do it. If mom can do it, I can do it. So it's just your why, finding out your why. Why are you going to pursue that? I guess that's...
Yeah. And I think that if we're talking on why, I think I've always been a nurturer. I'm the oldest sibling.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always just had that motherly instinct, and for me, taking care of patients, it's just like that nurturing in me,
mm-hmm.
And so I feel like that was why I ended up in this profession, was for just getting to be that nurturer, take care of patients, see them get better,
mm-hmm.
Just helping them when they're down. So I think that was my why. I thought about it too, when you had mentioned that nursing school is hard. A big part of, there's two things that were hard when I started nursing. One, we talked about where I grew up, Winona. We had very few computers that were in the library. Like, they weren't really utilized a whole lot. Everything that we did was on paper, all of our tests. So me being a kinetic learner, that was great because I could mark out the answers that didn't apply. I could highlight and circle and doodle while I'm reading. Like, I could do that. Well, whenever I got to college, everything's on computers.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to buy a laptop, teach myself how to use that laptop, and then learn how to test from a computer. And that's hard. That was hard for me.
You going from paper to a computer?
Yes.
Well, you were
trying to learn that all at one time.
You were probably in the age, well, I feel like we were in the time when we went into LVN school, we were the last of the narrative writers. They don't teach narrative very much, if any. Like, you can see a brand new nurse, and could she write a narrative in a nursing home chart that you pulled out?
Oh, yeah.
Like, could you write a whole assessment A to Z? So, or now it's just click boxes and stuff, but you had to write out orders.
8 times 3, patient in better. Like, you had to go through and write out.
And I feel like we were the end of that era, and then it went digital.
It all went electronic. And then when we first started, it was kind of going hybrid.
Yeah.
Like, you still did paper charting, but then you're learning some computers as well. But the second thing that made nursing school hard for me is that anything in the medical field, it's a whole new language. It's like learning a new language.
Yeah.
All the medical terminology, the medical jargon, how to say things in a politically correct medical statement. Like, learning that language and lingo was, I want to say it was hard, but I mean, it was just something added on top of, you're trying to learn the content, but you also have to learn the meaning behind every other word when you're trying to learn the content. And so that was very time consuming.
Yeah.
So I think that if we could offer any advice, like, for somebody considering going into just nursing, first and foremost, is just really familiarize yourself with medical talk, like learning that terminology.
Yeah. I mean, your anatomies and stuff, they introduce you, but you don't get to really do nursing until you get into that program. You don't really realize why you're learning that anatomy and that medical terminology until you're in the program and you're actually having to use that to take a test or write an assignment or write a note in clinical setting. Like it is a whole different world. It's not like going to be an accountant or anything like that. It's not. You're dealing with lives.
The different culture, different language. It's like
people will live or they will die because of your care, unfortunately. So there's a lot of pressure. There is a lot of pressure, I feel like, being a nurse. Am I doing the right thing? I felt pressure in school because I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to fail at something and then have to tell people that I didn't succeed. Like that to me would be heart-wrenching to have to tell someone I just couldn't do it. I was not going to allow that to be something that came out of my mouth. Like I wanted to say I did it at all costs. So
yeah, for me, no wasn't an option. It was just like, no, I know that this is what I'm supposed to do. So if I'm not supposed to do it here at this program, then I need to do it at this program,
right.
And yeah, so no wasn't an option for me either. Again, that's that competitive spirit maybe, or that achiever. But then also a part of my drive is like, I want to set the bar high for my kids. Like I want to be a good example for them. And like, I feel like we're all a competitive family. So I'm hoping that they're like, oh, well, we're going to do much better than my mom did,
That's
and then they set themselves up for success or to being more successful.
Right. That's what we want.
And like, yes, just to be a good example for them and to hopefully set the bar higher for them.
Yeah. And even if you don't have kids and you're still young and you're thinking about going in to the program, what do you want what will nursing provide for you? Will it provide a better living? Will it provide better, will you get to see more of the world, the country? Will you get to see different lifestyles and different varieties of cultures? What will nursing do for you? Not just what you can do for nursing, but what will it do for you? Because that's what keeps you fueled. That keeps you resilient, knowing why. And I feel like that helped me, what is going to make me different going into the nursing program? What is it going to do for me?
I felt like it was also job security. Like I'm like Absolutely. A very like, I like to plan my future, like understanding that there will be some variance and things like that. But I'm like, overall, even if I go into nursing and I can't do pediatrics, like I think, I can still have a job. Like I'll still have that job security. I'll find a job somewhere.
Because that was that was your specialty. Like you did pediatric. Did you ever think you would go outside of that?
No.
Really? Like being at Truman. She worked at a very interesting place. Like very unique for our area, very unique for anywhere, I feel like, in the United States.
Yeah.
Tell them a little bit about Truman Smith.
It's a long-term care facility. I think it would fall more under the category of like an LTAC nursing home, like, because it's for medically fragile kids. So essentially it's like a nursing home for kids, right? Kids born with congenital defects, kids with permanent brain damage from shaken baby syndrome or maternal drug use while the baby's in utero, like near drowning accidents, gunshot wound victims, like whatever car wrecks, like whatever the scenario, cerebral palsy. There's several different things, but there's kids that are trach and vent dependent. I mean, so it's not like necessarily a run-of-the-mill nursing home. Like we have ventilated kids there, SIADH kids that have critical sodium levels of 115, like as a baseline, like just weird things, seizure disorders. So it really is more long-term acute care setting, but it's for kids.
Yes.
Ages 21 and under. And then, of course, kids that have lived there since they were, 15, even though they're 45, like they don't kick them out. So there are some older patients, residents, but they were there before they were 21.
Okay. Yeah.
But yes, I loved that job and I love the kids. I still talk to some of the kids from there, one of my favorite places to work.
Yeah.
But again, just trying to
resilience in you, because that would be hard for me to work with children every day. Like, especially you had kids too at the time. I bet that made you very resilient because you've seen the worst of the worst when it came to kids. Like,
so the hardest part of the job for me was not necessarily the kids in the state they're in, because they all still have their own personality, so you find ways to still communicate with the nonverbal kid that has little quirks about them that others wouldn't understand. The hard part for me is like trusting society and the adults, or seeing that person that is responsible for making this kid like this, get to come and pick them up and leave with them. That's the hard part of the job to me. And then just carrying forward like that distrust in people, which in a sense, I guess could be a good thing, because and it goes back to like me better protecting my kids because I know what people are capable of.
Yeah.
Like people are capable of very evil things.
Yes.
And so that's the hard part of that job for me.
Yeah. But whole point of me letting her share that with you guys is because I'm sure Jess didn't know going into nursing school that that's where she would end up. But
not at all.
There was a purpose. There was a place for her. And I feel like she thrived in that environment. It was so well-rounded. Even when we went into the RN program, like you knew so much already, even though you were just in that environment. Like, I think it prepared you for where you were going.
And if we go back to God's timing on things too, I did the LVN program first, and for our pediatric clinical rotation, we got to take a trip to Truman Smith. I'd never heard of the place before then.
In LVN school.
In LVN school is where I even learned about this place. We went for clinicals there. One of the kids bit me my first day, and I was like, oh, I love this. I want to come back for more. So then after I finished and passed my boards for my LVN, I was lucky enough to get hired on out there.
Did we go there for RN? No. So it was my LVN program I went in. Yeah, that's what I remember.
I think the last group from TJC students was my group, just talking about like trusting God's plan and his timing and stuff. And I mean, I worked there I would fluctuate from full-time and PRN based on having kids and school needs, but in accumulation, I worked there for 10 years.
Yeah. Wow.
Here I am, still trying to do work things with babies attached to me, needing me. Again, yeah, I'm very blessed to have like my husband and I, we've had some knockdown dragouts, but he's always been like a very good support system. I don't want to say stepped in because he's the dad and he should, but unfortunately, we live in a time where there's not a lot of dads that fill their role as they should. And my husband and I, we've bumped heads in our marriage, but as far as a present father, he has always been there. And so, God's blessed me and the kids with him to help make that possible. And so, and then of course, I've had I guess just relying on the people that you trust with your kids to be a resource, like there's times where I'd have to call my mom last minute, like, I'm so sorry. I know that you're working. If you can help out, here's what I need. If not, no big deal. Like we'll reevaluate and go to plan B, so just having other people in your support group, to rely on is helpful. And so
taking it day by day.
Yes. Just taking it day by day. I don't remember if it was in our BSN program or if it was in my FENP program, but one of my professors, that was her motto, like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Like, just take it one day at a time. Don't try to get everything done.
Yeah.
Or don't worry about tomorrow. Like, let's just get through today.
Yeah. You don't have to have it figured out. Just start.
And you'll be surprised at how it starts to flow and happen.
Yeah. So you can do it. Even if you've got several children, like you will find a way to do it. And there's nursing programs that are in the daytime and there's some that are, evening. TJC had that where you could go in the evening for the working mom,
Yeah.
So,
and that's what I did. I did an evening program. So, when I was doing my LVN, I chose LVN because I was already a mom and it had required the least prerequisites first. All you had to have was like, obviously your basics, which to tell you how bad I hate reading, I had to take English 1302 like 3 or 4 times before I could make a C. I hated it so much. Okay. So there's that voice of encouragement there. If you're struggling, like just stay persistent. You'll get past that little bump in the road and it will be well worth it. However, the only prerequisite you had to have was intro to A and B. And so that's why I chose the LVN program. So, but I was already a mom. So I was working at the coffee shop in the morning then going to school 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every day.
And you were an aide.
I was a CNA. I did have my CNA during the program, but I just did that kind of PRN. And my main job was working at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Because they worked around my school schedule really well. I couldn't really commit to a hospital schedule, where they want you to do it 312s because I did have clinical schedules, tests, childcare, other things to work around.
It's a full-time job that you don't get paid for, but it's for a short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain.
Yeah.
It's worth it. You're going to gain so much more in that painful moment. It's just a blip in time. I mean, the LVN program's 11 months. The RN program is 2 years. Like, if you think about how long we live, it's not a long amount of time, but it can set you up for a future if you just do it. Just bite the bullet and do it.
And you don't have to do it the long way like we did.
No.
Like if you're young and you're getting out of school and you're looking into what you want to do, I think if I didn't have any kids, my advice that I would have given is just do your RN first. If you get accepted to the RN, apply to both. It doesn't hurt to apply to both, like in your scenario.
Get in the workforce.
Yeah, like just get in there, start getting familiar with that culture, that language, the different specialties, things you need to know. And then there's pros and cons to that too. Like one, you have experience, you're getting familiar with some of the terminology, but then when you're a C student like myself, which I say C student prior to NP school, because if you make less than an 80, I went to UT Tyler, and if you made less than an 80, then you were failing.
Yeah.
So my GPA is much better. I became a better student. But the whole point of this is working in the field first has a lot of benefits as far as terminology, learning the culture, seeing some of the disease processes and reading some of the progress notes and knowing what they're talking about. But the downfall is, there's textbook scenario, or there's textbook answers, and then there's like real life scenario answers. Like, they're not always the same. So in school, you're just going to have to know they're looking for the textbook answer.
The most right.
The textbook. In a perfect world, what's the textbook answer?
Not your experience.
Yes.
And we had an upper hand, but we also had a disadvantage going into the RN program when we did, because we had prior nursing knowledge. And so we know what real life is like out there in the nursing home or wherever we were working in the hospital. We're going into a program where there's nothing but 19 and 20, maybe 21-year-olds who just started their life. This is their first time interacting with a human being and taking care of them. And we had already done that, but when it came to exams and stuff, like we had to forget what we do in practice outside of this program and what the actual program wanted you to know. So I feel like we had an advantage when it came to clinical.
Oh, yeah.
We were rock stars, I feel like, because, there's just another day at work.
Right.
But for the young ones that hadn't been working yet, it was a foreign environment. They excelled. They were like,
in the classroom, they were.
Yeah. Some of them didn't even take notes. Yeah. They read the book one time and they were A students. But when we got into a clinical setting, some of them struggled just being personable, building a relationship with a patient. So all that to say, you can either not have experience and do well, or you can have experience and do very well. But, just not giving up regardless. And we were older. And everybody was very young. I feel like the majority of our class.
Well, we say we were older, but we were still young.
Yeah,
we were like
older. We were further along in our
26.
Yeah, married with children.
Yes,
with careers.
We were further along in life.
Yeah,
for sure. But we felt old.
We felt older.
Of young girls and guys.
Burnout. Let's talk about burnout for the seasoned nurse.
Burnout for well, that to me,
encouragement for them.
Well, I say there's no better motivation than the burnout, right?
Right.
Like if you're the RN and you've been doing the same old thing at the same old unit, they're not increasing your pay as they should. Right. They're hiring new nurses that are making more than you because you've been working there for so long that you started at a lesser pay.
You have a higher patient load than some people.
Right.
You have to handle it.
You have the knowledge to, like if you're contemplating NP school, and especially if you're burnout, like do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
That's the worst that can happen.
Yeah. I had nurses and colleagues that discouraged me from going to NP school, and I don't really know what their rationale behind that was. If it was, I guess some people just don't want to see you succeed, right, or they don't want to feel like inferior to former colleagues, which I don't ever look at anybody and feel like I'm inferior or superior to anyone. I'm just trying to understand, like in their mind, like what would make them discourage somebody from fulfilling a dream of theirs.
Yeah. I still don't have that answer.
No. So some of the things they'd say is like, oh, the pay is not worth it, blah, blah, blah.
Yes,
it is.
I remember hearing
Yeah, no, the pay is worth it.
There's more autonomy. Way more autonomy. I mean, you're not carrying out orders from somebody. You're writing the orders. You are the one making the plan. So it just depends, I guess, on the kind of nurse you are. Do you like to just do tasks, or do you want to be an independent practitioner? Do you feel like you hold the knowledge that would make the healthcare field better if you were taking care of the patient, you were writing the orders? I feel like being uncomfortable and being burnt out sometimes can be the fuel that makes you survive.
Yes.
Being burnt out. And just don't feel like you have to stay stuck at the hospital or stay at that clinic where you're being bullied or you're being underpaid. Like, nursing is such there's such a wide variety. You can pivot at any time. Burnout is a good reason to change, to career pivot, even if it's within the same career. Burnouts happen to me. There's times where I thought that the work environment was so bad that I just thought I picked the wrong career path. Like, I didn't want to do this anymore. If this is what it was going to be like and feel like, I'm in the wrong field. I don't know if I could do it. And you have to then find your why. And another thing is, I didn't come this far to quit.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think another thing is going along with burnout and or unfair workloads, like, don't stay somewhere where you're not appreciated. And that's another benefit of nursing. It goes back to, like I mentioned earlier, that job security. Like, you have a skill set that you can take with you to anywhere. You know, like, if you're like, I don't want to do bedside, well, there's teaching, there's so many other things that you can do with your skill set and your education that you don't have to stay anywhere where you feel like you are not appreciated, or that you're dreading to go. Like, there's other options. Like, that's another pro nursing field. Don't
feel stuck. I feel like some people just suffer in their at the hospital because this is all they've known. That's all they want to do. But someone could really use you as a nursing school instructor because you've been at their bedside, or a legal consultant. I mean, nursing the way it should be and what the standard of care is. Look into legal nursing, being a legal consultant, where lawyers are looking for nurses to sit on the stand and say, what is the standard of care and did they follow it? Like, to me, that's very interesting.
Yes.
I've been looking into that just because I'm like, who better to sit on a stand than a nurse to say, that's not what nurses should be doing. This is what they should have done. Or, yes, that nurse did exactly what we're taught to do. Yeah. There's just so many different things. So
many avenues you could take. So
many different avenues. And then, if you go into NP school, like, there's so many things you can do as an NP. I don't know about but am I looking at a lifetime of student loan debt? Yes. They'll probably throw the receipt in the casket with me when they bury me because I will still owe. But I feel like, and the goal is to get it paid off at some point, but
my goal is
that didn't stop me from going. The amount of debt was not going to stop me from it. Like, I don't even think about that money that I owe. Like, it will get paid back. If anything, I feel like it should be forgiven.
I know. I keep saying that I'm going to look into that. I honestly. So that's another tip. Like, heed my advice. Like, follow up on your student loans when you get out of school, because that's like the bottom of my priority list, and my credit score took a huge hit. So then I'm like looking like, what has happened? And it's like each loan is a separate thing. So it's like all these separate loan
interest rate
things hit against my credit one time.
Yeah.
So it doesn't show up as like one missed payment. It's like 5 missed payments all at once. So follow up on your student loans.